Hi and welcome to Back to the Tactics board with Edge of Play. In today's video I'm looking at the 2-2-2 formation in 7-a-side. I'll be looking at some of the features of the formation and also some of the potential challenges you may face with it. Here the players are then in a 2-2-2 formation for 7-a-side. Look at the features first of all. Well, I think the first you can see visually is that you've got a strong central spine. The players are not in a 2 necessarily going to be clearly left and right in a wide sense. You more like to have right of centre and left of centre in the 3 units. So if you look at it like that, you've got a strong central spine, makes you hard to break down. You've got 3 units which can shift across together wherever the ball goes and make themselves quite hard to break through the middle. The fact that you have these 3 units of 2, 3 sets of pairs, can make it quite simplistic, keep it quite straightforward. If one player is making the move to the right, the other player in the pair can make the move to the left. If one of the 2 midfielders is dropping in for the ball, the other one makes a different movement. If one's responsible for this side of the pitch or moving in behind, and then the other player might be dropping to the hole to receive the ball or drop into the other areas. So I think you've got a starting point for players then to work off each other's movements in the 3 units, in the 3 pairs. Having 2 players up front of course is a real benefit when you get the ball forward. You can have them linking up together and working together. One player maybe drops into the hole to receive the ball between midfield and the forward line, which can then link up. Or it could also be that the ball's played to the most advanced of the forwards, who then has someone to set the ball back to. Because you have 2 central midfielders supporting the 2 forwards, it also gives them license to maybe make movements into the channel to give you that width. Because the forward receiving the ball has 2 midfielders to lay the ball back to, and then the ball can be played forward from there. So you've got good support for the centre forwards to knock the ball back to. So that this system has potential for creativity, great potential for it. It's a lot like the 4-4-2. It's what you make of it with movement and awareness. If you stay rigidly in the position that you're starting in, as you see on the screen there, then you're going to struggle because you've got straight lines. I'll come on to that in a minute with the challenges in this system. But if there's movement from it and you're showing the awareness to move off your partner's movements, then it can be a really creative formation. So if 6 is dropped into midfield to receive, for example, and 7's more advanced, 5 or 4 can then make these big third man runs in behind. So as long as there's movements triggered by the first movements and that this player is moving in harmony and coordination, this can be full of creativity, though it actually starts in a very rigid box rectangle shape, which is not great for build-up play. The 2 up front as well, of course, can look to press together and work together at defending high up the pitch, can come across knowing that they've got those 2 midfielders behind to cover in, they've got 2 defenders behind that, so the units can shift across and be really solid and hard to break down. Let's look at some of the challenges you may face in this formation then. Well, the first one I've put down is it lacks width in all areas. Of course, all of these can separate either way, and that could be the same up the pitch, but you can see what happens if you do that. You completely open down the middle of the pitch, and so you wouldn't want to do that beyond maybe the centre backs or defenders doing that early on. Your forwards, instead of being both centrally, can either look to take a wing each or look to be in that space in between the wing and the central area here to stretch kind of an opposition defence and make uncertainty for them between their side defenders and central defenders who picks up the forwards. There has to be movement into the wide areas to create width in this formation. Like I mentioned with the strength, being that with movement this system can actually be creative, but without that movement, without that awareness, there are straight lines. You know, I generally mention in these videos you're looking for triangles and diamonds to do build-up play, to retain possession, to create chances. Well, you see in here, as opposed to diamonds, apart from the triangle you've got here, it's starting out very much in squares and a rectangle as a whole. Those straight lines, those square passes are the kind of passes that get intercepted that can be predictable. So you'd have to have players that are aware enough to see these situations, and as this player goes in to receive, this player's making a good angle, this player's not stood in a straight line, maybe drops into that area there to create a triangle or a diamond with the goalkeeper and the other defenders. Likewise, when the ball goes forward, you don't want the ball at the forward's feet and players being square to one another. This player would need to be seeing the ball's being received there, either making a move in behind or a move on this side to receive it there, and then movements from midfield. So with movement, you've not got a problem, but the players have to be creative with that. or you will struggle to do any kind of build-up play. In 7-a-side formations that have a 3 in one of the units, whether it's 3 at the back, 3 in midfield or 3 up front, you maybe have an area of the pitch which you're saying that's where we're kind of really going to go for it, that's where we're going to have the strength, that's where we're going to overload an opponent and gain advantage from that. Well, in the 2-2-2 formation, you don't have that unit of 3 to start with in any area. So you could look at it like being a jack of all trades and a master of none. You're not necessarily going to dominate in any of the areas without the correct movement from these starting positions. I'd say as well that whilst I've mentioned you've got this central spine and the team can shift across and be quite hard to break through, because you're in units of 2, if the ball is switched across from one side of the pitch to the other by a team, as opposed to trying to play through you, if the ball comes across, you've got this situation there where, because you're in units of 2, they've got a lot of space to cover to get across. So if you're playing a team that's quite direct and just wants to play through you, you may be okay. If you're playing a team that likes to move that ball around, make the pitch big, switch the play, get it left and right, you're going to have these units of 2 having to do a lot of work back and forwards to get across to the ball and put pressure on it. So yeah, I would say all in all it's quite susceptible to switches of play. If you have the right personnel then for this system, it can work great. You know, if you have a midfielder who is naturally inclined to drop in to this area, to work with the defenders, to build possession, if you have a midfielder that is happy to make those big runs in behind, if you have forwards that maybe have one that can make the ball stick when it comes into them, one who makes the big movements in behind, one who's happy to drop into the hole, or maybe it's the big runs into channels. You have to have players that are prepared to make these movements and to work off each other to make this system work, to make it a creative system and not a square, straight, predictable system to play. Thanks for watching this formation video. I do hope you found it useful. To learn about other formations for 5-a-side, 7-a-side, 9-a-side and 11-a-side, go to the tactics section at www.edgeofplay.com.